Alright, so you're driving down the road, you have the radio on, and a song comes on that you've never really listened to, catches your ear, you go home, get on the computer, and you go on to FrostWire, LimeWire, you download it for the best price ever, for free. Now, illegal downloading music has become worldwide since 1999 when Napster was formed. But not a lot of people know how it affects the music industry, the artists, and then the people that are behind the scenes alone. So today I want to explain how artists are affected by pirating music, the people that are behind the scenes are affected, and then also people who can be found on YouTube that put their music onto iTunes to try and get profit from their talent. Today's music artists don't really get a lot of money from their recorded music, whether it's buying CDs from the store, going onto iTunes. I found a chart from informationisbeautiful.net from this past April. It shows how much the artists make from both store-bought CDs and then from iTunes, and it shows how much they have to sell of each thing just to earn a monthly minimum U.S. wage of $1,160 from their music. If an artist self-makes their CD, meaning they record it on their own computer, burn it onto CDs, put a label on it, and then sell it just to try and get some money from it, they have to sell 143 of them at $10 a pop. They only get to keep $8 of that, really, because of cost for the CDs and everything. And if it's sold in stores, they have to sell $1,160 or 1,161 CDs at $9 a pop to earn $1 from that. Meaning they recorded it obviously from a record label. They have to pay that record label part of their money. The store gets to keep a portion of it, so they only get to keep small chunk of change from that. And if it's bought on iTunes, they'd have to sell 1,129 because obviously iTunes sells everything a lot cheaper than what you can get in stores. So they only get $1 from that also because iTunes takes at least 40% of the profits. Then the record company has to get a chunk of it, and so does the artist, but the artist only gets a small piece of it. And if it's a single track, they'd have to sell 12,399 copies of that, and they only get 94 cents of that. Now, there's certain websites that you can go to where you only can listen to it, but you pay a monthly thing so you can listen to it. And in some cases, artists only get 1/10 of a penny from that, meaning it would have to be listened over 800,000 times just for them to get any profit from it. So, you know, a lot of people think, you know, you make it into the music industry, you really kind of got it made. But if you look at some of the things they have to do, they tour, you know, a long time. They do 60, 70 shows on a single tour. That's where they get their change. They only get money because a lot of them are sponsored, but record labels don't really pay that much. It just gets them out into the world. Now, for the people in the backstage of it, you know, like the recording guys, the guys that mix the music, according to the Record Industry Association, global piracy causes 12.5 billion economic losses every year. 71,060 U.S. jobs are lost. 2.7 billion in workers' earnings, and a loss of 422 million in tax revenues. 291 million in personal income tax. 131 million in lost corporate income and production taxes. So illegal downloading is it affects worldwide. It affects personal lives. It affects families. So it tears apart more than just the artists themselves. Now, I love YouTube. I go on YouTube all the time to see people do covers of songs that I like. I recently found a group that does their own songs that they put on iTunes and the covers of the songs, and they actually put those on iTunes to make money. So they have to pay iTunes as well as money towards the bands that they cover. So they don't make a lot of money, but they do it in order to make money from their talent and to hopefully put their name out there and hopefully get signed. But it doesn't always happen. So today I've explained the consequences of downloading music that affects the music industry worldwide. I hope you take that into consideration and that you realize that you're not only hurting solo artists, but you're hurting the music industry as a whole and unnamed artists that want to become part of this industry. So thanks.
Sorry. Tracy, what did you think?
I thought that I liked the opening. It kind of like, you can relate to it. His thesis was very clear, and the organization of the whole speech following the thesis was really good. I liked how he would give an example and then explain it to, like, in case somebody didn't know what that meant, he would explain it so it helped the audience understand what he was trying to say. He had really good eye contact. His gestures were good, even though he did have like the papers in his hand, but I thought it was still really good. I liked the facts and the statistics about how it affects the employees of companies and stuff like that. And I thought his conclusion was really good. So overall, I thought it was a really good speech.
All right. Yeah, I thought the opening was fine. It sets up the subject pretty clearly. You've got a good preview going. I didn't think that your internal signposting was quite as strong, and sometimes you just wandered into the next topic without making it clear that that's where we were at any given point. I thought that you had a good example that you started with about the hypothetical band and all the different revenue streams that they would have to deal with in order to make any money off of their music, and you did a good job presenting that, although it did seem like it went on for a long time. I think this would be one of those places where if you had an example of a band or an artist that at one point was able to make a living, but in the last few years has had difficulty being able to make a living off of their recordings, for instance, and now has had to tour more, or they've been dropped by their label, or they're having to do self-promoting kinds of things, there might be some value in having that. And most of those folks will be mid-level artists as opposed to the big-name kind of folks, but people, you know, who have to live their lives substantially differently as a consequence. I thought that you had some pretty good data on the jobs issue that you presented, and that makes it, I think, a good argument. I think you want to tell us a little bit more about where it is, you know, what it is we're supposed to be getting out of this at the end, not just a description of what happens, but you know, maybe giving us a sense of, I don't know if you want to say guilt or responsibility or some sense that we are involved with this. I think you could do a little bit more on that. On the presentation issues, sometimes the fluency is a little bit problematic. A couple of you-knows and ums and that sort of thing. It seemed occasionally a little more, it's naturalistic, but it seemed maybe a little bit more impromptu in nature than it should be. I think you need to have a little more control over the contents. Nothing bad, just an additional suggestion there. I thought you did a very nice job talking to the audience. That was all solid. All right, thank you.